Let's talk about what may be going on. Joining us now is former Coast Guard spokesman James Judge, and also alongside him is Titanic expedition leader G. Michael Harris. Gentlemen, it's great to have you both in, as this story is obviously urgent for the folks who are lost. I just want to kind of preface of where this is happening. I think we have the map again. But basically, Michael, you said more people have gone to space than where this submersible may be located. Can you clarify and sort of give us a finer point on that?
Yes, ma'am. It is to that depth of the ocean. More people have been to outer space than 2.5 miles down to the bottom of the North Atlantic.
And it makes it incredibly, almost, I don't want to say impossible, but very challenging to get divers there and, again, to try and propel something back to the surface?
Yeah, I mean, that technology is just not available at this point. If they're still on the wreck and in one piece, I don't know how. The Navy doesn't have any equipment to be able to recover at that depth. I mean, you're talking 12,850 feet. You're in 6,000 pounds per square inch of pressure, and there's only a few vessels in the world that can even get to that depth. And to try to get out to the North Atlantic to deploy it, and if the vessel is on the bottom of the North Atlantic, it's a 29-degree outside water temperature. Wow. Salt water takes longer to freeze than fresh water. So you're at 29 degrees. You're talking hypothermia inside of that vessel. Yeah. They've been in there now for 50 hours. So, I mean, you have CO2 scrubber issues, you have O2 issues, you have hypothermia issues. And of course, you know, the vessel, if it lost power an hour and 40 minutes into the dive, that would mean it would be at around 10,000 feet when they lost communication, which is another 2,800 feet to the bottom. So if they lost communication and power and they were free falling to the bottom of the North Atlantic, I don't know how a carbon fiber hull could actually withstand.
Oh my God.
James,
what is the Coast Guard, what's the operation looking like at this point? So what is the Coast Guard literally doing in real time right now to work with those involved in this overall operation?
Sure. Well, the Coast Guard is currently conducting a search from the air. We've got C-130s on scene, American C-130s from the U.S. Coast Guard. There's additional aircraft from the Canadian Coast Guard. They've deployed sonar beacons that are looking at the surface below the water. You know, at the district level and the sector level from the Coast Guard standpoint, there are folks we're looking at computer models at different deep ocean currents, at surface currents, where this might be. I mean, we have an idea of what that location looks like, but when you add in the currents that are going on, this is a massive search area. And, you know, the size of this vessel, let's hope and pray that it does surface. Somehow they're able to potentially jettison, you know, some weight, however that might be. If there's ballast that they can remove, if there's a way to get this thing to the surface, now you're looking for a 20-foot vessel, 21-foot vessel that is floating in 3 to 4 foot seas across, you know, maybe 1,000 miles of space. So it's exceedingly difficult to find this. But here's the positive news that I would, you know, ask for people to pray for, is that the Coast Guard, the American Coast Guard, does not perform search and recovery. Right. The Coast Guard performs search and rescue missions. So as long as they are still searching, they believe these folks do have a chance of survival. And I would ask the audience to just pray at this time. The God I believe in is a God of big miracles, and hopefully these people will be found alive and well, and hopefully return to their loved ones.
Yeah, hear, hear. I think that goes, yeah, I mean, we're all hoping and praying.
And I know at 1 o'clock, we're going to have an update from the Coast Guard. So again, this still is a search and rescue. Very important to point out there. We are praying. I guess in the final 30 seconds here, if we could just ask you, G. Michael, how did this go so wrong? I mean, obviously these missions do happen. I mean, what's the reason for this?
I mean, not being out there, you know, it's very difficult to try and speculate. But when you're talking a harsh environment such as, you know, the North Atlantic, and you're looking at a new design on a hull, this carbon fiber hull, and their communication, or it's kind of like the lack of communication, because, you know, they're navigating from topside. They're getting information from the support vessel. They don't have any type of inertial or internal navigation. There's no transponder net set up on the Titanic the way we usually did it when we dive, so that we would actually have a grid that we could navigate in. And the topside
Understand.
knew where we were, and we knew where they were.
Understand, truly lost at sea here. And again, there is hopes and prayers. We are still awaiting some.
And these guys were experienced, explorers. Several of them have
Yes.
done this. And there's a quote: "The ones who push the limits sometimes discover the limits push back." But hopefully, again, our hopes and prayers go out to them and their families, and we hope
Keep
that
praying, because
they're
PH
looking.
Nargelet's been diving with me for over 30 years. And
Gee,
he's
Michael.
thank you.
G. Michael,
Thanks for the
James.
insight.